Hello and welcome to What Else Is On, the show on the Else Nerds Network, where we talk about TV and the past TV shows in the past, movies from the past 7 days. In the past, we're talking about past
Seven
stuff.
days. I
Yeah.
feel like I just got a call from the ring, and
I'm Gregor Sprague, and joining me, like you just heard, is Corey Scott. Corey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Gregory?
I'm doing pretty good. Oh dang it! Now you're quieter.
Well, thank you. I'm shy and dainty. I'm a delicate flower. Can you hear me?
Fix it. Yeah, no, yeah. It was just
Okay.
quieter on the audio thing, which means I'm gonna. Hell yeah, I'm gonna have editing now. So, before, and we go in there. And so, before we get into the TV shows that we talked about, there's 3 news stories that I found interesting. First off, with the first one, that Boomerang's getting its own original content. Now,
Which is great if I got Boomerang. I don't understand why I'm constantly getting screwed from the Cartoon Networks. When I lived in Michigan, I was one of the only people who didn't have a Cartoon Network. I moved to California, and my roommate didn't have the Cartoon Network. I lived with my ex and her family. We got our own apartment later on. No Cartoon Network, no Cartoon Network. When we moved into this other apartment here in Runner Park, finally had the Cartoon Network, but I couldn't get a TV in my room. They wouldn't run a line into my bedroom for some reason. So I was just like, I had to go in the front room to watch. It was so long waiting to finally get this station, and all the great cartoons that the original stuff they were doing had been coming out, like Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo and Cow and Chicken and all these really fun things. And I couldn't get any of them. And now it's been since then, like all the old cartoons that I wanted to see in the first place had all moved over to Boomerang, which I still don't get.
yeah, and now I believe how it works or will work is because even before they were Boomerang, it just airs like a lot of the newer repeats. But this is them trying to market to the developer, to the ad people, saying, "Hey, give us money for advertisements," because they're probably getting a lot of help from their other networks, the other Turner-owned networks like Cartoon Network, just to keep it afloat on the 2 satellite company. I think it's only on Dish and DirecTV, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably what the case is, because it's definitely not on Comcast.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was something that I saw. I'm like, oh, hey, that's interesting. And the 2 shows, or a few shows, it sounds like one of them is like the Bugs Bunny one is like 4 different shows. But the first one is Be Cool Scooby-Doo, which features the classic Mystery Inc. lineup, and will premiere later this year, along with Wabbit, a Looney Tunes production, Bunnycula, based on the popular series of children's book.
Bunnicula,
There's also-
yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. I mean, it's an interesting thing here.
It is interesting. I mean, now, Scooby-Doo has had a ton of incarnations of the cartoon. Even recently, in the last couple of years, they've been doing it. I know that Minnie Cohen was playing Velma, and Matthew, I think of his last name, he was serial killer in Hackers, and then he was a serial killer in Scream. Matthew Lillard, who played Shaggy in the live-action movie, was playing Shaggy in the cartoon series. And they did a really cool episode with Adam West where they did sort of a play off of him being a Batman-type character before, and now he's older and he's trying to still do it. Some good stuff from it. So it's not like we haven't seen Scooby-Doo stuff. It's just it sounds like they're moving the property over to Boomerang to give it a new launch with whatever new version it is. Same thing with Bugs Bunny. They keep doing things with the characters. The last thing I remember was Lunatics, which was sort of an extreme, superpowered version of the characters. But
The only one I remember from, or recently from Looney Tunes, was the Looney Tunes show. That was on Cartoon Network.
That was another one too. I couldn't remember if Lunatics came before or after that. It was kind of short-lived, but it was
Yeah.
weird. But there's a customer who comes into the comic store that I help out at sometimes, who is deeply into the Lunatics verse and has done his own fan fiction about those characters in generations into the future, having intermixed with the DC superheroes that they're kind of based off of. People like their stuff, It's okay to like things so much that you create your own stories out of it. I have no problem with fan fiction. It's just funny because he likes to tell all about it every time I'm there.
Nice. The second bit of news I figured you would really, really like, because I think Beatmaster would like as well, seeing as how I think you guys are really big Neil Gaiman fans.
Yes, I'm wearing a Neil Gaiman shirt in my user icon on Facebook.
Oh, nice. But this news is, and so you've heard about American Gods coming to Stars, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, Neil Gaiman is going to write some of the episodes of American Gods,
which is ideal since I think he's got a handle on the source material. I think he's got some familiarity with what the author was going for when it was written. No, this is great. I actually heard something about this probably on Sci-Fi Geeks Club, and they had been talking about at least the show coming out, and they mentioned also that the audiobook they've done on Audible, but I think they also did it as a play, or maybe it's Neverwhere that they did as a audio drama. Actually, I know they did Neverwhere as one, but I'm quite interested in seeing this show. American Gods is phenomenal. I can't say that there's anything that Neil's done that I haven't loved, but certainly there are things that it just really sparked the imagination, and American Gods and Neverwhere kind of are the tops of those. I haven't read the sequel, A Nazi Boys, yet. It's one of those things I keep planning on getting to. Just too many books on my plate. Maybe I should start using my Audible account. I have so many credits that I haven't utilized any of them.
And so real quick, what it says here is Brian Fuller, the executive producer for the show, said but when he's speaking to Collider that he confirmed that the first 2 scripts are finished, and added that Neil Gaiman is going to be writing episodes is going to be writing episodes of the show, and then Neil Gaiman also confirmed, who's the series producer or executive producer on the show, on Twitter, that he will write some on down the line. And to give the credits here, he wrote the '96 BBC series Neverwhere, like you mentioned, and the Doctor Who episodes The Doctor's Wife, which won a Hugo Award, and Nightmare in Silver. 2 of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, when he's involved in something, when he does a story for something, it's usually pretty incredible and a not necessarily a perfect example of the material that he's writing for, but often that is the case. He's done so many different things. Also, if you ever get the chance to read Good Omens, it's kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy about the apocalypse. It was co-written with Terry Pratchett. Definitely, I think if you're going to enter into Neil territory, that's probably a good one to start out with. I think a lot of us did.
Yeah, and this one right here, this final bit of news, I almost had in the splash page today, but it was like, do I really want to bump one of these other stories, which I probably... no, the Gotham one was interesting. I'm just being a cruel hipster at this point. But Guardians of the Galaxy 2 title officially confirmed by James Gunn. And it is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know... It tells you nothing. It means nothing other than the fact that it's like the second volume of the mixtape or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And, hey, I'm glad that it's not spoilerific, because I don't want to be spoiled when it comes to the Marvel films, especially Guardians. And I'm finding a lot with Ant-Man, too. I don't want to know any more about the Ant-Man movie. I just want to see it. Like, they keep trying to sell people on it. They're saying, no, it's going to be so much better than what you think it's going to be.
It's the antidote to Age of Ultron. Well, what if you thought Age of Ultron was good?
Yeah, exactly. I was already excited about it way back when when it was just test footage. I was disappointed when Edgar Wright left the film, but I was excited when Paul Rudd got announced for it. I can't say that there's anything about the movie that I'm not hyped to see, so stop giving it all away and just let me go see the goddamn movie when it comes out for just a second, Marvel. They're not usually the worst at that, but you can tell they're a little paranoid with this film. As far as Guardians, James Gunn is phenomenal. He's having a blast. Chris Pratt is having his best year ever, and I think that's just going to continue on, and seems very well deserved. So I'm super excited for this, even though I don't give a crap about the title.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the only thing I could add to it is James Gunn has said that the script so far is more emotional than the first movie was. Like going even Chris Pratt mentioning that from what he's read, he's cried and all that. And
there James was some great emotional stuff in the first one. That I think that almost it's almost like we're selling it short in the fact that there were some poignant tug of the heartstrings kind of scenes in there. So just whatever you did in the first one for that.
We are Groot.
Yeah, man. Shouldn't even work because it goes against the whole I am Groot thing. But damn it, it does. It just does, man.
No, yeah, and this is coming from the dude who is on record. I think it might be on here. It's either here or Spreecast, who is on record for saying if Groot says anything else other than I am or Groot, I will walk out of the theater. And I like that line.
Yes.
I love that line. So I believe I've eaten my words before, but this is me continually eating my words from saying, oh, I don't like this or don't like that. But yeah.
Some tasty crow.
Yup. So that's it for the news. Now onto the shows. And let's start with the last thing I watched, and that is Sense8. Throwing little curveball because we didn't advertise
it. You had to catch up because I had said that I'd finished the whole series because the last I saw you were on number 10.
I was, and then I'm like, you know what? I was watching Ballers while I was fixing dinner and started watching The Brink, and I'm like, I have about 2 hours until showtime or until pre-show time. I could bust out both them episodes. Why am I watching this when we're probably not going to talk about Last Week Tonight or Happy-ish or any other show from the pay TV?
You mean all the shows I didn't see? Yeah, sure.
Yesterday, yeah. When I could talk about something that I know we will talk about. So.
Well, I mean, I caught up because I wasn't sure where you would be, and because frankly, once I started watching it yesterday, I just couldn't stop watching it. Erin was trying to get me to go to the grocery store with her. I had to take a shower first. I'm like, it's going to be a little while, all right? Because I'm watching Sense8. You just go, wait. Man. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
That show. I had also thought that there was 13 episodes for some reason, so I was surprised when it ended at 12, but it ended at a perfect moment with episode 12.
No, yeah, it was like where I ended, I think last week or somewhere, or no, it was like Wednesday. I ended at episode 10. And I'm like, and the only reason why I didn't continue is because of the fact that I was getting tired. And I was still behind on last week's comic books because I'm still reading comic books because I have no life. And I'm like, all right, I need to go to bed and read a couple comic books too, so I can wind down that way. And who was it? I think it was on the morning stream today where they're like, oh, the Wachowskis, because they were knocking. Oh yeah, it was on morning stream because Brian Ibbett had saw. Jupiter Ascending while he on his trip over to Japan. It was like part of his in-flight entertainment or whatever, and they're like, oh, the Wachowskis. And I'm like, have you seen Sense8? That is phenomenal work. And that's done by the Wachowskis.
Yeah, I mean, it's done by the Wachowskis with JMS writing it. but I've mentioned before, it is the most striking show. The visuals on it, pretty intense. Episode 11, and then some in 12 too, with the we're not holding back on the multiple birth scenes. That was kind of like, oh wow, and then there's more of that. All right, and here's the water birth. Oh, okay, all right, sure.
And now I don't want to have kids.
Well, I mean, it's not going to hurt me, unless we're enjoying it. So, spew. I think it was kind of a wonder to behold, though, because that's the thing about the show, is that in no way does it ever hold back. It goes all the way with everything it does. From the first episode with a pretty graphic sex scene, then they have another one, and I think about the maybe it was the 8th episode. I think it was considering like the 7th or 8th because I called it the hump episode, which I thought was funny because it's the halfway point and there's humping. In fact, there was a great line where two of the guys talked to each other for the first time, really, and one of them was like, "Oh, don't I know you? Yes, we had sex." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." The characters on this, like, we saw sort of if not the end of the storylines for them, we saw some storylines kind of get to their pure breaking point. And that's the moment where you think, well, these characters are kind of done, so what do we do for the next couple episodes? But the way that they utilized everybody in the climax of the show, how everybody has their moment, and that's part of the thing, too, is that you start out seeing these characters as a certain way. It's like, well, what are you going to bring to the table? Because there's a couple of characters that are very obvious. You've got a hacker character, so you see where the skills are important. You have a cop, so you can see where the skills are important. You have the fighter character. You can see why she's important and why she's the coolest one in the show. But some of the other characters are like, well, a DJ and this driver in Africa and this actor from Spanish soap operas. What do they bring to the table? And they all bring something very key to it. It is so beautifully written and acted and shot and everything. I am blown away by the show. Like, I was blown away by Daredevil, by how good it was. It being a superhero fan, being a superhero genre film and show fan, Daredevil was just amazing. This show may be my favorite show of the whole year/season, just because it was so unexpected. This was a show that I put on a whim because it's a sci-fi kind of weird genre thing that I did not think I was going to like at all, and I am totally in love with this program. And yet I can't think of how I'm going to sell it to other people to say, you need to be watching this, especially because some people just would never be able to. I just know that. Not that any of my friends are really prudes, but they're just not going to look at it and think, okay, I'm going to keep watching past the first episode, because it moves really slow, but is the show that is perfect for being on Netflix as a provider. Yeah. Because I wouldn't have made it through the show if it wasn't for that ability to sit there and binge watch it. I would have gotten to the first episode and gone, whatever. But after that, it just kept getting more and more intense and more enthralling.
And this is where, I mean, I've heard a lot of people badmouth Sense8 going, oh, it's not great or whatever. And you ask them how many episodes they've seen, the answer is 1 or 2. And I'm like, well, this one is made for Netflix. It's not Community or even Daredevil, which it's like, it's a style that would work on other areas. And like, it's using the fact that, hey, Netflix, what do you think of when you think of Netflix? Binge watching. So that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna give you a story that they're essentially giving you a half-day movie with this.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, the content was whatever they wanted it to be. Now, I'm not saying that they went straight out porn with it, and I don't know that they necessarily could have on Netflix. I don't think that's something that Netflix really wants to do. But it was relentless in how honest it was with what it was showing us.
Yeah.
And I know that some people see that as, oh, it's an agenda, you know, it's the PC police, it's trying to push these things on us. First of all, nothing's ever pushed on you. If you have the option to turn the show off, you are not sitting there clockwork oranging yourself. But it was just so amazing, and you could tell the care put into making all of these characters real. And even the things that didn't feel real, like the soap opera stuff with Leto and his relationship with his boyfriend, with the actress who, you know, is dating him, and it felt like it was out of those stories, and that's what it was supposed to do. And every different storyline that it did made sense for those characters of what they were and who they were and what you would want to see them done and be represented with. It was just so brilliant. And I don't know what happens after this. I couldn't even imagine where they go in the next season. I pray that it gets a next season, and I pray that it lives up to this, because I can't imagine how I wouldn't be disappointed coming back to it. I don't know how I could retain this level of greatness going forward. But I have no reason to doubt them either.
Yeah. No, I mean, the soundtrack, I love. I love this soundtrack. And it's like with the dad singing Teenage Wasteland
Yep.
on ukulele. I'm like, oh God, I love that. I want that as a show, like in the soundtrack. Like I want that downloaded on iTunes or something, or Google Play, to where I can sit there and enjoy it.
It's great that it's called Sense8 because it really touches you on almost every sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only thing it's missing is, like, Hannibal makes you salivate, which is disgusting because of what Hannibal's sort of showing you, but it is the foodie show. I don't think that there was a taste moment in this, but everything else, and including senses that are all spiritual and emotional, I felt were pulled out in watching this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so great, and so many of these actors and actresses I haven't seen in anything else. To get that cast together and to achieve what they did, it's just a symmetry that is incredible, just incredible.
Yeah. So real quick before we jump into starts and stops, I want to hit on two shows that I don't think you've seen, because the one has not aired and has not aired in America. Both of these this technically could be my Pod Save the Queen segment of the show. And this is Humans, which is a co-production of AMC and Channel 4 over in the UK. And I watched the first episode because I saw it on Xfinity. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm going to check that out. And really good. It's got the actress who played Jen on the IT Crowd in there. Who else? There's a few other people that I've recognized that have done Doctor Who, because they're British talent. That basically means they've done Doctor Who.
Isn't William Hurt in it?
I didn't see.
Yes, Speedmaster's saying yes. I've seen the commercials a lot. I think it premiered on AMC last night.
Yeah, and the dude who played Merlin is in here, and I'm watching him, and I've not seen Merlin, but I'm going, the dude's got a familiar face. How do I recognize this dude? And I looked at him, like, oh, that's why. But this show is really good. It's set in a parallel world, so if we're Earth 1, they're Earth 2, sort of to use a DC Comics reference, but not Earth 3, because they're not evil. But they're at a point where it's the present, but the only difference is they have AI. They have artificial intelligence. They have robots, which they call synths. And okay, I did not recognize. I just read Beatmaster's comment of who John Hurt is. I did not recognize him. I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm still too used to him as the War Doctor.
No, William
Or
Hurt,
oh, sorry, yeah.
not John Hurt.
Okay, William Hurt. What else has he been in?
You would have to go to his IMDb It would really depend on the kind of stuff that you've seen. I recognize him more from '80s roles. I wouldn't say do it now because you're describing the show.
But no, but anyways, so it's this futuristic sci-fi. Like it still looks, a lot of it still looks very much like it could be now because you see you see them using surfaces, which means it has to be sci-fi because who has a surface, or iPads, or there was even like they're giving love to everyone, and in the tech field, it's not like, oh look, here's the iPad, it's the funded segment, because they used all three operating systems, and it's just interesting because you see how people treat AI, which it's very similar to like if you've seen iRobot or any oh, he's playing Thunderbolt Ross. Okay.
Yes, he is
Sorry.
playing Thunderbolt Ross.
But no, like you look and you see him you see them like Jen, the actress who played Jen on IT Crowd, she doesn't like robots, and they're like, her husband buys this robot to just like help ease things with their marriage because she works a lot and in Leeds, where they live in suburban London, so it's like, a little bit of a distance between them, and so there's a strain that way, so he gets the robot to ease on the relationship. And all in all, this is a really promising TV show, really promising, especially if you are like a sci-fi fan. I think you would enjoy this show, in my opinion. But yeah, and then the other show is the final episode of Top Gear. This was the one because of the fracas that Jeremy Clarkson got into. They had a couple of films that were finished, but were like supposed to air in the following episodes that they had, but because of the fallout and the not renewing of the contract for Jeremy Clarkson, and then James May and Richard Hammond going, sorry, we're with him. They came back just for one more show, just the two of them. Clarkson obviously wasn't going to be there. He was represented by Jeremy the Elephant, and he was literally the elephant in the room. And they had two films, and they were good films. Like, there's one that I'm going, oh gosh, this is what, if they don't get a car show, this is what we're going to miss. Because the one film was, they had 250 pounds, so like $300 or whatever, to buy an SUV. And he goes, and Jeremy Clarkson like spent, and the funny thing is they talked about the price on there in pence, so like basically using change, so it sounded like they were really expensive, but they were really like 250 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever. But and then they do like with all these, you buy an old car on Top Gear, the renovation. And the renovation that Jeremy made is he put rims on his car. And can you take a guess at what they looked like? What these rims look like?
No, because I have no idea. I don't watch the show.
They were bespoke, or they were gentlemen's sausages. A CNN reporter might confuse it for ISIS, for an ISIS flag.
Okay.
So, but no, like he had like bicycle, almost like bicycle spokes all the way around, just of as you would say, the gentleman's sausage, all the way around. And I'm like, that is hilarious. They actually, and then I'm like, they actually make wheels like that? Like, who found that or had to call and go, yeah, I'd like 4 rims. Yeah, how'd you like that design? Shaped like penises? And then, oh gosh, what was the other? I can't think of the first film. That was the second film, and the first film, they were both good, but it was like a bittersweet thing because it's like, oh yeah, we get to see them one last time until they get their new show.
Now, didn't I read something that they said that a replacement had been chosen for him on Top Gear?
Yes, one of the replacements has been chosen, whether they go for the traditional 3-man or if it's just one. But the guy's name is Chris Evans, not Captain America, not that Chris Evans. He's a TV presenter, and actually, I will do an IMDb search for him, where he is and I will show everyone here. Sorry, 2 mice, people. No one has. But this is Chris Evans. I'm present everyone. I don't know if it's actually there. We go. Yeah, this is Chris Evans. And he's done a lot of things. Like he was in on Channel 4 TGI Fridays or TGFI Fridays, something like that. But he's done stuff like The One Show. He's done stuff for Comic Relief. And he's a great presenter. He's been on Top Gear, actually, too. And let me see if I can find TFI Fridays. That's the name of the show. It's right there, down there at the bottom. And so it sounds like he's a car guy. Like he knows what he's going to be doing. It's just at the same time, he's not them, and he's talking about getting another guy, Guy Martin, to join on there. Like, and Guy Martin would be a good one to get on there. He's done a lot of Isle of Man stuff, like the Isle of Man time trials. You see him like on Channel 4 a lot with like stuff involving cars, and so it's like, okay, you get them two, and you get someone else who's just like that. I'm sold. I'm not like the rest of the people on Top Gear Reddit who are all, oh, but this is all the end of the world, blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's changing of the guard. You're still going to get them with whatever they're doing next. If the fracas didn't happen, you'd only have them for another 3 more years because they had said we only would have renewed for 1 more time, and then once that next contract was up, we'd be done, because by that time, I think Jeremy Clarkson would have been like 67, 66, 67. They all would have been, really old, getting too old for this. And you can see that in James May, especially. Like, the last couple specials, he's gotten hurt pretty bad. Like, in the India special, especially the Argentinian special. Like, he's gotten hurt. But yeah, so that was Top Gear. It's a great episode. They're 2 great films. It's just they're not, it's like, okay, this is the end, sort of thing.
Right, the bittersweet moment. But you're right. I mean, it's not like they're going away. They're going to do something else. So now you get twice as many things. If you enjoy Top Gear, you get the new Top Gear, which will have some changes, but will still essentially be Top Gear. And then we'll have what these guys are doing and something else. So you actually win twice over.
And I can see people who are making the complaint. I could see where they're saying this because on Top Gear, the executive producer, the creator of the reboot, because much like Doctor Who, this is a rebooted series. He's going with them. With wherever they do next, like if it is on Netflix, if it's on Channel 4, ITV, wherever. He's going with them to create the show and produce the show, and they haven't announced who's the new executive producer for Top Gear. But they've still got a bunch of great producers over there. It's not like they're up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, it's kind of like your parents get divorced, and you've had a dog for the last 7 years, and your parents divorced.
Wait, are we getting a puppy?
Just shut up. So your parents divorce, and then you're like, okay, well, now I see the dog during the weekdays over at Mom's house, but I don't get to see the dog on the weekends. And then your dad's like, oh, hey, I'm getting a puppy over here. And you're like, well, it's not my dog, but okay, so I got a puppy over here and I got a puppy over there. But it's not like they're shooting the original dog. You just get 2 different dogs. That's the whole point. Yeah, your parents are still divorced, and the whole situation kind of sucks, but 2 dogs, man.
Yeah. So let's hopefully hop into starts and stops because I'm listening to us while we're doing this, and I notice we're like 30 seconds behind. So hopefully this will work. Hello and welcome to Starts and Stops for June 30th through July 6th. Starting on Tuesday, June 30th at 9 p.m. on CBS, you have the series premiere of Zoo. 10 p.m. on MTV is the series premiere of Scream. At 10:01 p.m. on NBC, you have the first season finale of I Can Do That. And on E, you have the first look at Total Divas. It's a special presentation. On Wednesday, July 1st at 8 p.m. on Fox, you have the 100th episode of MasterChef. And at 10 p.m. on CBS, you have the second season premiere of Extant. Thursday, July 2nd on Amazon at 12:01 a.m., you have the second season premiere of Androids. At 8 p.m. on NBC, you have the second season premiere of Food Fighters. 10 p.m. on CBS has the time slot premiere of Under the Dome. And at 11 p.m. on Sci-Fi is the first season finale of Olympus. On Friday, July 3rd at 6 p.m. on Cartoon Network, you have the 100th episode of Teen Titans Go with the episode called And the Award for Sound Design Goes to Rob. On Saturday, July 4th at 8 p.m. on CBS is the return from hiatus / burning off all the remaining episodes of The Millers. NBC has the 2-hour special presentation of the Macy's 4th of July Fireworks Spectacular. And at 9 p.m. on CBS is the McCarthy's return from hiatus. Basically, they're burning off those episodes too. On Sunday, July 5th, on 8 p.m. is the start of Shark Week on Discovery Channel with the 1-hour special presentation Shark Trek. And then at 10 p.m. on Showtime is the second season finale of Penny Dreadful. And finally on Monday, July 6th, at 8 p.m. on the CW is the second season premiere of Penn and Teller Fool Us. At 9 p.m. on ABC Family is the second season premiere of Chasing Life. CW also has at 9 p.m. the new time slot for Whose Line Is It Anyway, this episode featuring Penn and Teller. At 9:30 on FYI, you have the second season finale of Tiny House Hunting. And at 10:01 p.m. on NBC, you have the first season finale of The Island. I forgot to include a picture of an island in there.
Well, that's okay.
But yeah, so that's all that stuff. But yeah, so now on to the surprising, shocking, insert another word here, continuation of the movie draft update. And I've realized while I was doing all that stalling, I could have been getting it ready.
Opening your tab? It's like, all these tabs. And
no, that was separate. That was separate because I have all the production stuff, like the news and stuff, that was on Chrome. And then all that was on Safari.
Nothing for IE.
Well, because it's Mac. I mean, you can't put IE on Mac. You're just asking for viruses then.
Yeah, you are.
Says a dude who has a virus on his computer right now. But, so... Speaking of that, I am in 4th place with $441.007 million. Beatmaster has skyrocketed with one movie, like with
one
Jurassic World.
Goddamn movie
Yes.
that nobody says is that great, but everybody has freaking seen it, except for me.
And me.
Well, yeah.
With $500.373 million. I'm doing the thirds because why not? Corey, you are barely ahead of him, but with $562.042 million. And Evan Rockdy is still in first with all the movies he has with $651.583 million.
Now I'm gonna kick you a little bit for the barely. I am 62 million ahead of Beatmaster, and I am roughly 90 million, about 89 million behind Evan. So I'm almost at the halfway between the two. And while, yes, Jurassic World is killing it,
look out for the strippers.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Inside Out is not doing badly. I mean, it was number 2 in the box office this week. Unfortunately, my new movie this week, Ted 2, underperformed. So that's kind of a slam in the junk spaces there. Or performed as what it should, which is, reasonable. It's performing what they expected the first one to perform at. It's just that the first one did a lot better than they expected.
No, yeah, true. Um, and like I just mentioned, here Wednesday on July 1st, we have two movies coming out. Me and you, we have movies coming out this weekend with Magic Mike XXL. That's my movie. It's going to be stripperific. And yours with the new Terminator movie, Terminator Genesis. So that should be interesting. And well, technically, Corey, congratulations! You have the best grossing per dollar spent movie asterisk there because it was the last movie you bought it for $1. Um, that like this is looking great, and I really cannot wait to show this off to Brian and Tom and all them. Going, hey, this is maybe why you want to do random order. Pay no attention to Ted 2 because it was the last movie and he bought it for $1. So yeah. Now
Which is still more than I should have spent on Entourage.
Yeah.
God damn Entourage.
No, yeah, of course. So we're going to start our 3-month long thing of talking about Big Brother. Basically almost every week now.
Well, because I like Big Brother and I cannot lie.
Yeah, same here. So yeah, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the twin twist that they've announced this season for us, the viewers, they say it's an all new twist.
No, it's not an all new twist. I mean, it hasn't been done in a long time. I think it was the 4th season that they had twins before.
It was sooner than that because I don't think I was watching by season 4. But they had one season where there was identical twins that were doing basically the same thing.
Yeah, I think that was the 4th season. The first season I watched. The second season I skipped. That was the one with Dr. Will. I want to say the 3rd season was the one where the girl actually turned on. She lied her way through everybody. What was her name? Danielle? I don't remember. And then the 4th season, I think, was the one with Project DNA or whatever they called it, where we found out that Cowboy and Nicomas were brother and sister.
Yeah.
And then I think the twins were in that season as well. And then as soon as everybody found out about the twin twist, which they brought it the whole way through, as soon as that happened, they're like, okay, and now we're kicking you bitches out. Because we don't have any faith in either of you at this point. And they were just like, oh, but that's so mean because, I was stuck playing her game. Well, you still lied to us the whole time. We have no reason to trust you, and you're a power couple, essentially. Get out.
No, yeah, and so I'm actually right now on the 5th season of Big Brother.
Okay.
It was 2004. Because I think the 4th season might have been the All-Star season.
The first All-Stars? I guess that makes... Well, it doesn't seem like there was enough people. I
started watching it shortly after, I want to say the season after All-Stars, or something around there. And here's a little interesting fact, but there have been other countries who have done triplets in here.
Yeah.
Australia did it in 2005. Germany did it in both 05 and 06. Bulgaria in 06 and 2012. Big Brother UK did it in 07. Celebrity in 11. Celebrity 12, 13, 14, 15. Or sorry, not 14. France did it for 3 seasons. So that'd be a really interesting twist of getting three of the same people in there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, I have no guess as to who would have the twin. But sometimes the twists just become a pain in the ass. It's like, you're not good enough at the manipulation stuff. That's what we watch the show for, is to see these people manipulate each other. And Big Brother has had this stuff blow up in their faces a couple of times. They've done things where they do the questions of the week and then they say, okay, how many pairs of siblings are in the house? And people guess, and they go, oh no, one of the pairs of siblings is the gerbils that they had as pets, which were not actually siblings, but they used it as, oh, but that's the answer to the question. We say, the next day, they don't even do it then, they tell you the next day what the answer meant, so they had time to completely fudge that. It makes you lose faith in the show that you can't just let the game go. And I think they're already pushing things like the whole Amazing Race tie-in, which I've never watched The Amazing Race. I probably should have when they had Jeff and Jordan on there because I really enjoyed them. And I definitely am glad I missed the ones with Rachel and Brennan.
Yeah.
But I get that it's another popular CBS show, and some crossover is fine, but it's just, man, do we really need this? Is every week going to be some other special guest star comes in and does the twist for the episode? And the fact that they keep bringing that again, it's like, oh, everybody rush down the living room, here's a new twist. Oh, here's a new twist. Oh, here's a new twist. You know they're not going to all pan out.
No, yeah. And I think right now it seems like this time for Battle of the Block might pay off more than last year. Because last year it didn't really work. But then again, last year you also had Super Panicky Devin, who's like, oh, I'm so paranoid about everything. And I've seen a few people who it looked like they were getting, like that was already starting to
Devon
happen.
seems already like she's the one who doesn't trust anybody. It's like, oh, that doesn't you don't look like a dentist, or you don't sound like a dentist. Are you a dentist? Yeah, I'm a dentist. You want me to show you my retainers?
Yeah,
like,
and then
dude, if you are a dentist, which we know you are, but you bring your retainers with you to the Big Brother house, you're a freak. All right, if that's actually the case. If like you open a suitcase up and here's just like here's models of people's teeth that I've serviced. Why? Because I can't live without them. No, sorry, you're evicted just off of that alone.
Well, no, and then I think it was Jason, the dude from Boston, that mentioned like, and he's from Scranton, PA. Which, okay, first off, he has such a thick Boston accent. I'm like, and I want to be like, you do know that Scranton, PA is an actual place,
right? Yeah. No, he just made that up because that's where they had the office. Okay. Did he say he was a paper salesman? Did he come in with a little bobblehead of himself? I don't. Does he turn and talk to the camera a lot when no one else is? That is sort of what you do on Big Brother, but yeah.
But does he just sit there in mid conversation, like he's sitting there, blah blah blah, and then you say something weird, and you just go.
I love to see the breakdowns of people's mentality in the house. It's like you watched it happen with Devin. Devin could not handle it. His paranoia just suddenly eked out of him. And I don't think that's who he is in the real world, but I think you go on the show and you've got cameras following around all the time, and you know that people are there to play a game and to win a lot of money, so you just lose it a little bit. And some people lose it more than others. That is one of the fascinating aspects of the program. But it's just funny to see the people who watched the last season and seen that happen, who say they're super fans, just to do the same thing over again.
No, yeah, and
we were talking about Donnie's socks, and only military guys wear their socks that way. Remember that? Cowboy saying that about Donnie, and Donnie was just like, "I mow lawns for a living." Yeah, I'm not a military specialist at all. I don't know where that comes from.
No, yeah,
America's favorite.
Right now it's really early, but I do want to say that this group of people seems more interesting to me than last year's group of people.
Well, every season of Big Brother, the first episode happens, and I'm automatically like, I hate half of these people. I want them to all just burn in a fire. And this season, the first episode had them like, oh, I really don't feel that way. They're all sort of relatable, and I'm okay with them. And then the second half of the house showed up, and I'm like, now I want to burn half these people in a fire. And it wasn't necessarily just the second half that came in, that it was like all of them. It was just that some of the things from the first group started to wear on me, like Jace. I can't handle Jace's... I talk a lot. We're not fooling anybody. I know. I talk a lot. Jace talks a lot. And Jace thinks very highly of how much he talks. His bro connection with
the
Judith.
Wrestler.
Yeah. I like that guy. But the bro thing just got really old incredibly fast.
Yeah. And then to use a dad joke. No, sorry. For listening to We Have Concerns, I fall in the middle. Like, I like a good dad joke, and I'm like, like I'm team dad joke and no dad joke at the same time. Um, but to come up with such a dad joke of an alliance name with Shelltown, no, no, I'm sorry, dude. And actually, I think it was the wrestler Judas. I can't think of his real name. Who came up with it, and I'm like, oh gosh, no! Please tell me that's not actually sticking.
I'm sure it's not. I don't even think that they necessarily. I don't know that the big guy wants to be in a alliance with him necessarily because it's too early.
Yeah,
It's always worrisome to me, those people who like, oh, we're going to start an alliance right now, when half the people aren't even here yet. It's just, okay, sure, you want to get the jump on things, but you don't even know how well you people get along yet. And you don't know whose game is good and whose game is weak sauce. I can tell you that the three-girl alliance that came out of the first episode, Devon doesn't look like she has any sort of compunction to help her teammates, and is kind of in that Devon space where she is paranoid of everybody. It's like, oh no, that person's not telling the truth, even though they're completely telling the truth. So she's already halfway to crazy. I don't think that that's the smart thing to do, is to start alliances that soon.
no.
I also don't believe in the, oh, well, tell me you're going to take care of me next week, and I'll take care of you this week. It's like, everybody's going to tell you they're going to take care of you next week. Just get me off the block or don't put me out in the first place. Next week, we'll see how I feel about you then.
No, yeah, it's so wishy-washy with how all that goes, and I can't even predict who's going to be like surviving on to the next, like, and winning the whole thing. So you've seen True Detective. You're still watching True Detective.
I watched True Detective last night. It took a pretty spectacular turn. You're still not watching it?
No, it was one of those where I forgot to get True Detective and watch it, like, because I got sidetracked with doing other things, and like I'm not watching Sense8 and all that.
No, I totally get it, man. And I did not give it a very great review on the first episode of the season. But last night's episode, I'm not saying it was 100 times better or anything like that. You definitely get more of a sense of where these characters are coming from and who they are and where their stories are going to lead. But one of my issues that I talked about last show was that there were three characters who were all sort of on the same kind of tip. That's sort of been resolved to a certain degree. There was a big change in the story for one of the characters, and if you're interested in seeing it, that's all I'll say about it. But it kind of took me by surprise, and that's good. I like being surprised. I like being surprised when the story warrants the surprise too, when it's not like we just did this to shock you, but when it's like, oh, well, this is always where the story was leading, but we also managed to surprise you at the same time. I like that sort of thing. I'm still on the fence about how I feel about this season compared to last season, but I was impressed with the second episode, and like I said, I'd seen a couple of reviews where the people had seen the first 3 episodes before the first one actually aired, so I would like to think that maybe by the 3rd episode I'll feel more into it than I already do. And right now I'm still watching it, so that's a good sign as it is.
So, and then finally, the last 2 shows that we got to talk about are the 2 USA shows that I think we're both going to watch, because I'm still watching Complications and I'm enjoying it. But Mr. Robot and Suits.
Yeah.
So Suits we talk about quite regularly when it airs, but Mr. Robot, I enjoyed this.
Oh man,
seeing Heath Slater,
Christian Slater,
Christian Slater,
Helen Slater's brother.
No, I got him confused with. I said Heath Slater. That's the former WWE wrestler. Um, and I'm like, wait, no, that's not him. But no, with Christian Slater in there, and I think this is one of his probably going to be one of his big TV shows. Like
Well, I mean, he keeps getting TV shows, and they keep not panning out. He had a show on Fox. He had the show last season with Steve Zahn on ABC, which
Yeah.
didn't take. I think he even had another one on Fox before that. So it's not been a good go for Christian, but he keeps trying, and I think that there's something there that is compelling to people to have him keep coming back. It's not just the Jack Nicholson sound-alike thing that he's always had. Yeah, True Romance. No True Romance with TV so far. True Romance was a great movie. I mean, I've seen Christian Slater in some excellent stuff. I've also seen him in Cuffs. That's not a great movie. But this was a show that I watched, and Erin was in the room, and she's like, "Oh, what are we watching?" And I told her, and I couldn't really give her much to go on as what it was about. I've been getting the emails for the last few months from them. I've been going to the site and doing all that kind of thing. But I just kind of let her watch it, and at the end of the episode, she goes, "That was really good."
Yeah.
You know, it held her attention, which, I mean, my wife loves to play on her phone while watching even the shows that she really thinks that she enjoys. I can assume that's the only way she can get through Pretty Little Liars. But she very much enjoyed this episode, and I thought that was pretty good selling point.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
And I want to point out, I like the names of. This is the first time I've seen like creative naming, aside from like just doing like a theme with how you're saying it, and not using hashtags, which is sort of stupid. Like really stupid in my opinion. But for the episode titles, like episode 1 is episode EPS 1.0 underscore hello friend .mov, and they all have like container files attached to them. And it's great. Like the next episode, which airs on Wednesday, is episode 1.1 underscore ones hyphen and hyphen zeros with the O as his actual zero .mpeg. And all of them like .mkv, mp4, wmv, ASF for all these container files. I'm like, that's so cool. And what would blow my mind even more is if on the torrent sites that was the only way you could watch the sort of deal. It's just for
the computer stuff and the hacking stuff in this felt very authentic.
Yeah.
And I am not an expert. Of course, I work IT for a living. I have a good number of years with Geek Squad. Yeah, I mean, which is probably more a vote against my my hacking expertise, according to many. I did grow up with BBS's on my Commodore 64. I've done some things that we don't need to talk about in a public forum, but a long time ago, it was a different time. It was the 80s. I do have at least a passing knowledge of a lot of this stuff, and I know people who are much better experts than I am. And this is being looked at as someone did the research. Someone knew what they were talking about. And the mentality of the character, what his sort of Robin Hood aspect is, feels realistic. And it feels more realistic because of his personality, because of who he is as a person and what compels him. The fact that he's so cynical that even the good things he's doing, it's just because he doesn't believe in good things.
Yeah.
Very cool take.
Oh, no, yeah, it's... all of it's really good. And then, like, the one other little thing I like seeing was, you watched Suburgatory, right?
Yes.
You remember, I can't think of what her name was, but the bratty girl that was Christy Hines.
Dahlia.
It was her. Yeah, she's in here, and I'm like, wait, okay.
Yep. I don't think my wife caught that, and she was a huge fan of Dahlia and Suburgatory. Also, his best friend, who was sort of his boss at his job. She was from the show Mr. Sunshine, that was briefly on ABC, and I really liked her character on that show. She was kind of psychotic.
Yeah.
She was great. So I was excited to see her back on a show as well. It seems like, yeah, that's 3 shows from ABC that kind of got canned that now 3 of the actors have moved over to this. I don't recognize the lead from anything. I don't know where he's from. He looked really familiar, but I looked him up and I didn't recognize any of his background. But he's very good in this. All in all,
you don't remember him as being in that one episode in 2004 of Gilmore Girls?
No, my Gilmore Girls memory was wiped. I walked too close to a microwave, and it all went away. Because you don't microwave things, which is already a fast cooking time, near Gilmore Girls, where they're already talking in super speed. You shoot through time like you're a walking TARDIS.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I might actually have seen this guy in something else before, because he was the voice of Tano on 3 episodes of Legend of Korra. But I cannot think of who Tano was.
So what you're saying is it's moot.
Well, no, it's.
I'd recognize him from that voice of the character that I don't remember from that show that I used to watch.
It's me saying I should know it.
Okay.
But yeah. And as Evan is pointing out, he was in the Night at the Museum movies, where he played King Akhmenra, the Pharaoh King in there. So there's a Robin Williams connection there too.
Well, there you go. That's a good connection.
But yeah, Mr. Robot's really good. I'm really enjoying this, especially for like psychological thrillers are not really my thing, but this is one I'm enjoying.
Yeah, it's. I was also thinking about the USA way that they do shows, is that a lot of the shows are someone pretending to be something that they're not. If you look at Psych, Sean is pretending to be a psychic, even though he's just hyper aware of clues and things. You look at Suits, and Mike is pretending to be a lawyer, even though he's just got an eidetic memory. You look at Burn Notice, and there's something else that I can't remember what it is now, where the guy's just basically pretending to be everything.
Well, Burn Notice was he was a spy, but was no longer a spy because he got burned.
But he spends the whole time pretending to be different things. So
yeah, White Collar is the one you're probably thinking.
White Collar is another one where he's a criminal who's not pretending to work for the feds, but he is going against his better nature. So it's sort of formulaic when you look at the crux of how they do their characters, but it works. It works really well because they give you that compelling reason of like, here's this world where everything should be like this, and here's the one person who doesn't really fit in, and that's sort of your entry point character. It seems to work very well for what they're doing. The writing on this was just so good, and as the hacking stuff goes, like I love Leverage. Leverage was one of my favorite shows. But every time they got in the hacking stuff, it's like, this is where they just don't care that they're going way off base. It's just go with it, man.
TV. Oh, going on hackertyper.com and blah, 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 blah.
I watched Jurassic Park was on all weekend on USA, and it's like, hey, it's Unix. I know this. Right. Sure you do. Sure you do, little girl. And then it's a bunch of like, here's a bunch of pictures that represent Unix in some way. No, it doesn't. So it's cool to see something like this come out that is, I think it's the hacker show that hackers wouldn't feel too bad watching. They wouldn't feel like they were being talked down to or dumbed down to. They might actually go, oh, this is actually kind of cool. I'll have to ask some of my hacker friends, like I said, the much cooler than me hacker friends, and see what they think of it.
And then, so the other show that we watched on USA that we both like, Suits. So, are you like me and hoping that this new dynamic sort of sticks with Donna going over with and being Lewis's secretary?
Yes, for exactly the reasons that they show in the episode, is that Lewis has gotten screwed over. You know, I was crushed when the thing happened with Mike and Lewis before. You know, that was when
Yeah.
I had first started to like Lewis, and I felt terrible for him. And he's gone back and forth between being a bad guy and being a really good guy. And sometimes he's like the bad guy who's just so ruled by his emotions that he wants to be good, but everyone else he's just the loser. He's just lost at so many things, and it makes him think that being ruthless is the most important thing to protect himself.
Yeah.
Which is why he's been one of my favorite characters of the show over time. Like, I started
yeah.
just hating that guy. I'm like, oh man, they couldn't pick a more Weasley-looking dude to play a Weasley character. And no, he's fantastic. He's so good in this, and he's great as the funny character, the one that you laugh at, even when you're liking him. But when he's ruthless, he's scary. He's terrifying because he is powerful. He just doesn't know how to utilize his power to its fullest. That's the difference between him and Harvey. I don't think he's got the heart to go full bore awful at times, and that may be what holds him back. And I hope that's a lesson that they never teach this character, because I like him too much. But no, I love the new dynamic with him and Donna being, with her working for him instead of Harvey. It's hard to take that away from Harvey, but Harvey keeps doing shit where he deserves to lose things like this.
No, yeah, I mean, Harvey, especially this whole episode, like, he's doing despicable things to screw over Lewis, just to screw over Lewis.
Well, not just to screw over Lewis, but more to win Donna back. You know, and they do show that he's got an emotional hang-up that is affecting him too, and so this is his way of dealing with that. But in the end, he comes out stronger by letting it go, which is growth for Harvey, which is those rare moments when Harvey actually grows a little bit are good moments for him.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just glad Mike and Rachel are working out right now, man, because I did not like that season where they were just, meh.
Yeah. No, yeah, I didn't like that at all either. But no, Suits, I mean, it's really good. I don't know if they're going to do more case of the week sort of deal, or if they're going to have, or when we're going to see the overarching story for this season.
Well, the lawyer that they go in and they deal with in the episode where he starts doing quotes from Silence of the Lambs with them, that guy has been in a ton of things. I remember him back on the Mommies, which was a comedy show based off of this couple of comedians who were out of Petaluma. They had an NBC series for a short while, and he was on that. He was on Dear John. He was hilarious on that show. He was kind of the skeevy, sort of Quagmire-ish guy. But he's been in tons of things. He just finished up his run as being one of the bad guys on Justified for almost the entire show. He is excellent. So I hope that his character comes back in this. I hope it wasn't just a one-off for that moment, because there was too much there. That character it seems like there's way more that he could bring to be their foil for the season that I want to see him return.
I remember when I was watching that the dude looked familiar. I can't think of where I've seen him though.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. He's been in so many different things that when you look at his page, you'll go, oh yeah, and here he is in this, and you'll know.
It's like Steven Tobolowsky, because that was one thing. Like, I watched Spaceballs this week again. I'm with my friends, and I was looking, I'm like, oh, they had, I don't know if it was John Hurt or who was an alien. And
that was John Hurt.
Okay, yeah. See, you got me thrown off by when correcting me with, oh, it's not the War Doctor, but John Hurt. They had him in Spaceballs, and they had Steven Tobolowsky. And I'm like, wait, Steven Tobolowsky, John Hurt, wait, huh? And then rewatching, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this now. But no, I mean, this is like Suits. I've been enjoying this show, but then at the same time, it's like, you try finding me a USA show that I haven't enjoyed or tried, and you'd find Graceland.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is for some reason I just never picked up on Graceland. It looked like a show that I probably would like the extended cast, but I don't know that I would necessarily like the lead. I did watch a little bit of the first episode of the season because it followed up something. I was rewatching Mr. Robot the other night just to have something on the background, and yeah, it looked pretty good. It's got Serinda Swan, who was on Breakout Kings. I think she also played Zatanna in an episode of Smallville. It has it has actors from CSI New York.
Yeah.
One of the actresses from that. What was the Rescue Me? One of the actors is from that. So it's got some great pedigree of people. I just didn't jump on the show.
This dude, okay, the dude we were talking about from Suits, who did the quote from Silence of the Lambs,
Jer Burns.
has been in he's been in a lot of USA stuff. That I'm like, oh, that's where I went. I remember like where I seen him because he was on Bird Notice's Anson Fullerton, like a big series long, so he can do the series long villain thing.
Yeah, he's a great character actor. He's someone that, but he's done so many different things, and he can bring different things to each of them.
He was on Psych as Derek Ford on the episode "Disco Didn't Die, It Was Murdered." I want to rewatch Psych.
He was on the Max Headroom TV series. You know, that's near and dear to my heart, man. Yeah. Max Headroom.
But no, yeah. So, but no, Suits. I'm enjoying it. I don't know what the new thing's going to be. If it's going to be, and hopefully it isn't, Harvey getting over Donna. Or
that's got to be it for the season. That's got to be the big thing this season is Harvey dealing with the whole Donna loss and trying to come to terms with admitting that his feelings for Donna are something that he needs to explore now. We've already gone through him losing the relationship with Scotty, who was on True Detective this week. But now he's got to decide, since he doesn't have Donna as his Girl Friday anymore, should he try to pursue something real with her since that barrier is no longer there?
Yeah. So, without spoiling it for me, because I do want to see the movie, and Kingsman: The Secret Service. How did you like the movie?
All right, so we talked last week. You had chosen a movie from the Google Play Chromecast offer, and I went through the list, and I thought about that one, but then I saw Kingsman was on there, and again, goes off of stuff with my wife. My wife is not a comic book person, but she has enjoyed the Mark Miller comics to film that we've watched together. Like, because they're just so over-the-top action stupid, but they're very coolly filmed. So when we watched Wanted, the opening scene of Wanted with the following the bullet backwards, when we watched Kick-Ass, there was some great, crazy stuff in that. I knew she was going to get something out of Kingsman. I knew it was going to be that same kind of feel. I didn't realize at the time that it was Matthew Vaughn directing it, but that made perfect sense. And she actually stopped partway through the movie and she said, "Who directed this?" And I said, "I don't know." And she looked it up and she's like, "Oh, Matthew Vaughn. I don't know what he's done." I said, "You liked what he's done." But she also hated X-Men First Class. She thought it was the dumbest piece of shit movie. I kind of agree with her.
Yeah.
So, but in this, it's exactly what he should be. In fact, I think he didn't direct the second X-Men movie, not just because Singer came back, but because he wanted to do this instead. He's got a very good relationship with Mark Miller. I think he elevates Mark's stories to something better in the films than what they start as in the comics. This is crazy, stupid, over the top. There is a scene in the sort of climax of the film which is just so over the top, and I know that some reviewers had some real problems with, because it's not complimentary to our national way of thinking. I'll put it like that. I'm okay with that. It's dumb, crazy, sickening. Samuel L. Jackson does a very good job playing his villain character, because while he is forced into committing some atrociously violent acts, he is unable to stomach violence. He can't stand the sight of blood. He can't stand performing violent things, so he has people around him to do it for him. Plays for some good comedy at some points. Colin Firth is terrific in it, and it's just so weird to see his level of acting in this kind of movie. But plays perfectly. I mean, you need that actor. You need that level brought into this. Michael Caine is in it. The person who plays the lead, Eggsy, is very good. It comes together as a good popcorn movie. I should have made popcorn when we watched it. I think Aaron made crack. I think that's what we had, is we had crack instead.
Okay.
Well, crack is the Chex chocolate powdered sugar peanut butter mix. That's what she calls crack.
Oh gosh, there's a name for it I've heard here.
Muddy something or another. I think
like
they have their
monkey,
own brand.
Something monkey.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. Muddy Buddies, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But that she made that, and we ate that while we watched it, or ate a little bit of it.
Yeah. So I believe that just about wraps it up for us. You can find more about us by following us at Twitter at ElseNerds. And you can check out our new webpage that I am working on, constantly updating, at elsenerds.com. And you can like our Facebook page at facebook.elsenerds.com. And you can see full archives of our shows on YouTube at watch.elsenerds.com. And hey, we have a mother channel, father channel.
I called it the mothership last week.
Yeah, we have a mothership that helps us out here. So show them some love. They're on Alpha Geek Radio. It's the Galactic Netcast crew. In fact, you see my stuff on there in the news feed now, along with the splash page. It goes in the general news feed with all the comic book news I update about daily. There was one day I didn't do it because there really wasn't any news, or it was all Suicide Squad because that's all anyone wants to talk about.
Hey, but good for Suicide Squad. You know, a movie that I'm not terribly excited about, but a lot of people are starting to be. So that's nice. Maybe I'll get excited by the time it'll hit that point where I'll see something and I'll go, okay, now I'm interested in this. But good that Warner Brothers is doing something that is gathering them some interest, because like it's
you mean
1,000 times, it's not about me.
You mean
not about my opinion.
Security?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Because a lot of it's just set photos. And it's like, oh gosh, another set photo.
You think they're not leaking that stuff, though? You think they don't want that stuff out there? Everything that gets the movie talked about is a big deal to them.
Yeah. I don't know. But they're over there. They got shows like Sci-Fi Geeks Club, which just had Bonnie Burton on there. It's like, holy crap. Yeah,
I know. That was awesome.
And Alien Invasion, Weird World Weekly, Adventure Party. Then they have the Net Bites, like the Splash Page podcast, and Who News, the S Word, all that stuff, Galactic Gaming News. You can check them out at gncast.com. And we record What Else Is On every Monday night at 9:30 East, 6:30 West. And I promise there will be a Pod Save the Queen, because I was going to do one earlier today, but I got busy this week, and that'll be sometime. I'll post it on Twitter. And the comic book show, we'll get to it when we get to it. And this has been a Don't Tell Glenn production. We will see you guys next time.
Take care, everybody.